I'll be making forward-looking statements today. I encourage you to visit our corporate presentation on our website to read that carefully. In terms of investment in our industry, there are certain criteria that the investors look for. One is obviously the property itself. The other one is jurisdiction, management track record. These are just a few of those criteria. Let me just talk to you about why we believe Fenelon checks those boxes. So in terms of property, we purchased this property that was about 10 square kilometers from Balmoral Resources in late 2016. Since then, we have demonstrated a multi-million ounce potential on this property. Since then, we have increased our land package by the acquisition of Balmoral that was completed in May of 2020, and we now control about 900 square kilometers of this land package that is quite underexplored, as well as around the Fenelon itself. We've increased that land package from 10 square kilometers to over 85 square kilometers. So not only have we demonstrated that property has the multi-million ounce potential, but more importantly, there is organic growth potential along this underexplored belt. So in terms of property, we believe we check the box. In terms of jurisdiction, this is in Quebec. Very mining friendly jurisdiction, great infrastructure, great skilled force. There is road that goes around the property, and we maintain a 20-kilometer property from the provincial road to the site. The hydropower is less than 20 kilometers from the site, and we believe that over the past 3 years we have shown that we've been good corporate citizens, and we've had very good relationship with our First Nation communities that are in the camp and in the area. In fact, more than 20% of our workforce is from the First Nation communities, and they're very mining friendly with respect to development in the area. In terms of management track record, we purchased this property that was 10 square kilometers, and in less than 4 years we've managed to find another discovery on this property and demonstrate this multi-million ounce potential. We now control a large land package that has the potential for other large gold systems very similar to Fenelon and the Detour on the Ontario side. So in terms of the management track record, we check the box. Access to capital is important. We currently have over $85 million in the treasury. We've been able to continue using those funds that we have raised over the past 2 to 3 years to actually accelerate our exploration and have a successful exploration program that is now shown to be continuing to expand the mineralization along this belt. So these are the criteria why we believe investment in Wallbridge is value accretive for our shareholders as well as new investors. Well, 2020 was a transformational year for us. But before I talk about our operational and successes, I wanted to address the pandemic that we just went through and we continue to be in. The health and safety of our employees, our stakeholders, and the communities we operate in is paramount to us. We started our operation at the beginning of the year with a guidance of about 100 to 120,000 meters of exploration drilling in 2020. We had to stop the operation due to the COVID shutdown about late March, and we restarted back in May. And we still managed by the end of the year to maintain our lower end of our guidance. We completed the year with 122,000 meters of drilling, exploration drilling, but more importantly, we did it safely, and we did it with the support of the communities that we worked in. So during the same year, in 2020, we completed the acquisition of Balmoral Resources. From a 10 square kilometer property that we owned, we now hold over 900 square kilometers of this underexplored land package along this belt. And more importantly, we also increased the size of the Fenelon itself from 10 square kilometers to close to 90 square kilometers. What's important about the entire land package, particularly on Fenelon, is that our original exploration continued to demonstrate that the Fenelon itself was going beyond the original boundaries of the property. We now have not only identified our Gabbro zones, the Tabasco, Cayenne, and the Area 51 zones, but we now see with little exploration that we did since the acquisition of Balmoral, we've also increased the potential for this mineralization to go down to the Sunday Lake Deformation Zone. So far, we've identified close to about 1.8 kilometer strike length of this mineralized environment. In terms of the expansion and the success in the exploration, we obviously had quite a number of increases in terms of the footprint of the mineralization, not only in the Tabasco itself, but in the Cayenne as well as the Area 51. We're now demonstrating that within the next resource update, which is expected to be completed in 2021, that it would include a surface mineralization of an open pitable type. We're proud of the team we have assembled at Fenelon. This team has impressed us right from the time that we discovered the Area 51 and the Tabasco zones, all the way to the fact that this Fenelon was recognized by the AEMQ in 2020 as the discovery of the year. And we're proud of this team. We continue to support them in our future success at Fenelon and at Wallbridge. We have an aggressive exploration program planned this year. 170,000 meters of drilling. More than 90% of that drilling is going to be concentrated on Fenelon property. The majority of that drilling on the Fenelon property will be infill drilling as well as the expansion within the known zones of the Tabasco, Cayenne and Area 51. Some additional drilling of that will be continuing to demonstrate the existence of the Area 51 mineralization down to the Sunday Lake Deformation Zone. The balance of that, roughly about 10% of that drilling, will be concentrated on regional exploration. We do understand that there are other large gold systems that have been identified by previous owners Balmoral, potentially on Martinier as well as Grasset. We do have also on the Cassot property some commitments that we have some targets that we intend to drill as well. So that balances the 170,000 meters of drilling that we have planned for the 2021. Additionally, we do plan to complete about 4,800 meters of a 10,000 meter program that we had planned to do over 2 years at Fenelon. The reason for us going underground and to do this development is to create the drilling platforms that are needed in order to be drilling the Tabasco, Cayenne and Area 51 zones, not only to the degree that it increases the confidence in the maiden resource, but more importantly being able to extend the mineralizations to beyond the 1,000 meter depth that we currently have drilled it so far. We are in Abitibi. Deposits in the Abitibi don't stop at 1,000 meters, and we intend to do so. Another reason for this underground drilling platform and underground development is really get into these zones and understand the geology continuity of these. So that's one of our plans, to be able to get into the Area 51 as well as the Tabasco zones and be able to see the geology, see the mineralization, and potentially be having them ready for a bulk sample that we may or may not be deciding to do so. The other component of our 2021 plan is obviously to complete a maiden resource. Since the discovery of Fenelon, we have demonstrated this to be a large mineralized system, and we intend to complete our mineral resource estimate by the third quarter of 2021. Now, depending on the size of that maiden resource and the potential for its growth, we either carry that maiden resource into an economic study, or we continue drilling and be able to identify the economic study based on a perhaps larger project. When we had decided to proceed with the gabbro production, we hadn't realized the size potential of the Fenelon after the discovery of Area 51 and Tabasco zones. It has been increasingly evident that the current understanding of the mineralization at Fenelon is not aligned with the production permit that we had started for a 500 ton per day operation. As such, we've decided to pause that permitting process and complete the maiden resource and the subsequent economic studies in order to be able to understand the project description of that larger project before we resubmit our applications for a production permit. We understand that we need to unlock the value of our copper nickel PGM assets, not only in Sudbury Camp, but also with some of the assets that came with the Balmoral Resources acquisition. Now, in 2020, we had decided that we wanted to take the opportunity to spin out our copper nickel PGM assets, but in order to do so, we were looking for some near-term to production asset. That's one of the reasons we engaged with Sibanye-Stillwater in order to operate their Longming Canada operations with their Denison property as their main asset. Now, the Denison property was to have the maiden resource and their PEA completed in 2020. Unfortunately, that PEA and the maiden resource had been late, and we understand that mineral resource and the PEA is imminent to come. And we see that opportunity now this year in order for us to review the potential for the spin-out of our copper nickel PGM assets, or at least try to unlock the value of those through other avenues such as joint ventures or any other opportunities that we can get to do so. As I mentioned before, the 2021 program is an aggressive exploration program. It's 170,000 meters of drilling, 4,800 meters of underground development, maiden resource, as well as all the technical studies that are required for the future advancement of the project. Our program for 2021 is roughly about $79 million, of which about $75 million of it is on exploration and development. We finished year 2020 with about $85 million in the treasury. So we have a very fully funded program for 2021. In terms of our shareholders, we have a very supportive shareholders list. Eric Sprott owns about 21% of the company. Kirkland Lake Gold currently holds about 9.9% of the company. We do have institutional shareholders that roughly represent close to about 11% of our shareholdings. It happens to be the companies like Van Eck or the Caisse de Dépôt in Quebec, as well as other institutional shareholders that have been following since the addition of Wallbridge into the GDXJ. So this is also another criteria in terms of investment in our industry, is the supportive shareholders. And as you can see from this list, we certainly have a combination of supportive shareholders that are strategic, institutional shareholders, as well as the balance of our shareholdings that is held by the retail. So I hope with this presentation I've been able to outline the reasons why investment in Wallbridge is value accretive. We check the box in terms of property, in terms of jurisdiction, supportive shareholders, access to capital, and a fully funded program. And more importantly, these are the catalysts that are coming on from now till for the foreseeable future in terms of 170,000 meters of exploration drilling, possible bulk sample out of the areas of Area 51 as well as Tabasco, and also being able to de-risk the project as we continue the development underground as well as drilling from surface.